All right, first question is going to go to Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Nick, how are you?
I'm good, Doug. How are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. Congratulations on the new contract. I'm sure that's a big sort of load off your future mind. Can you sort of walk us through how it came to get done so quickly?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a load off my mind or anything, Doug. I think I'm obviously, man, I've loved being here and loved the job, and there's nothing not to love, man. And I think it was just pretty much it was time to renew a contract, and that's what we did. It was really, really easy, you know.
Speaking of the job, it's an odd one because of the situations around the league. Do you know when you're going to be able to get in the gym with your guys and get some work done in this, whatever the off season is, for however long it is? What are the rules now?
Yeah, not really, Doug. I think that we're still kind of fresh off the season. We're certainly in decompress mode right now. I think it was a little maybe a little more stressful. Maybe we do need a little time here to kind of put that season behind us, I think. And so we'll do that now and wait till we hear what the information will be as far as going forward. But my initial thoughts on everything, Doug, would be this. I would say that, as soon as we find out, a start date for next season, we just kind of plot in everything, retroactively or whatever, like we would have. We'd have a 3-week training camp, so we'll have a 3-week training camp. We'll have maybe 3 weeks of preseason involuntary workouts prior to that 3 weeks, like we would have had normally. I think I know it's not normal, but I think as close as we can timeline wise and doing things as similar as we can, we'll do. I know this is, we'd be heading to summer league here pretty soon. If this was a normal season, we certainly won't have that, but our player development stuff will have to kick in, and we've got some key young players that need to have a great off season and keep her going. So, just I know it's a little weird all over the calendar and stuff, but we'll try to replicate, because we love what we've been able to do in the off seasons here for many years, and we'll try to replicate it as best we can.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks very much for your time as always.
Okay, Doug. Good to hear you, man. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, pal.
Going next to Mike Ganter from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Doing good, Mike. How are you?
Good, thank you. Wanted to ask you about your assistants. They're getting a lot of traction around the league. Nate in Indiana and Griff maybe somewhere else. Can you update either of those, or is there any news on any of that?
Well, I think you're right. First of all, we are getting some calls and permission to speak to them. Nate is interviewed once with Indiana, and it looks like he's made it into their list of finalists. So he's going to go in and do an in-person one as well. So, that's kind of the way it goes, right? When you've got a successful organization, people are going to look at them and see if there's some people they can pick off and go from there. So, my thing is from a player standpoint and from a staff standpoint, I'm always trying to help everybody reach their ultimate goals. And we'll do everything I can to help those guys. I've always tried to promote them. Even in my short 2 years here as a head coach, I've tried to promote them. I've always told you guys, I think all 3 of our front of the bench guys are head coaching material for sure. And there's some guys behind the bench that are going to come that way here soon too. So happy for those guys and wish them well and do everything I can to help them.
Have you had an assistant, like obviously not at the NBA level yet, but have you had an assistant go on to become a head coach?
Yeah, a lot of them, Mike. In the D League, obviously Nate was with me, as an assistant at the Iowa Energy, and then he went to Santa Cruz. I went to Rio Grande Valley. We met in the finals. You probably have heard that story more times than you'd care to. Yeah, I had Matt Brazzi as well was with me at Rio Grande, who went on to become the head coach at Rio Grande Valley. I had Mike Taylor, who was with me at Rio Grande Valley, who went on to become the head coach at the Maine Red Claws. Seems like there was a couple, had another assistant at the Iowa Energy go to be a college head coach. So yeah, like I said, I really try to spend a lot of time helping the assistants reach their goals and getting to where they want to go.
I got it. All right. Thanks, Nick. And again, congrats on the contract.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good day.
You too.
Next question is going to Eric Kareen from The Athletic.
Hey, Nick, congrats on the deal, and thanks for taking the time. When we were talking to Masai last week, he said part of his evaluation and heading into free agency is kind of he has to figure out what bubble basketball ultimately meant compared to, what came before it, the way a normal season would unfold, and what it said about how your players and other players performed. Now that you've got some remove from that, do you have a sense of how useful that information from the bubble is, like how out of the norm it was, and sort of how many conclusions you can form off of that basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think really good question, Eric, and I think Masai is right, and you guys, on the right track here. I listen, I really believe in those guys I was playing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I really believe in them, and I think we all have seen what they've done at different times for us over the last 2 years at every level. I mean, there was lots of levels because of this season, because there's another one. There was a bubble level and a playoff bubble level. There's regular season, there's preseason, there's last year's playoff run to deep to the finals and winning it and all that stuff. So we've had a lot to evaluate, I think, with the with the top 7 or 8, and even the next 5 or 7 got a lot of playing time this year because of the injuries. So there was a chance to evaluate them as well. But I'm going to say that I really believe in the guys that we were playing. I really do. I'm like all of us. I wish we were still playing. I think a bounce of the ball here or there, I think we could be still playing.
To the extent that you were able to have exit interviews, I mean, was it strained? Like, how was it compared to normal? And what's it like when you're talking to those guys who are free agents and might not come back? What's that just like as a coach, especially guys who have helped you guys win so much?
Well, it's a little tricky, Eric. I mean, I think you got a combination of a lot of things that felt different. Like, you just got knocked out in a tough series. Everybody's on the move trying to get out of that bubble very quickly, right? That was kind of a strange feel anyway. But for the, and I think you probably, heard Masai say this for the most part, or not for the most part. The conversations were awesome. All the guys love being here and want to be here and continue to be here and all that kind of stuff. So it was, as uncomfortable as it was still very pleasant conversations with them. I think there's a high level of gratitude for what they've done. I think there's a high level of gratitude from them for what we've done. I think there's a high level of respect, for what these guys have done for this organization as well. So it's as uncomfortable as the times were, because you just get done playing and you're in a bubble and you're on the move and things like that. It's still a very high level of respect conversation going on.
Thank you, Nick, and congrats again.
Thanks, Eric.
Going next to Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hi, Nick. Good to see you. When you were young in your career and maybe hoping to kind of establish yourself in the way you have now, was there something you would always promise yourself that you might do once you got that contract? A lot of players talk about getting that second contract, right? That's when they want to do something special. is there, is there something that you've kind of been holding off on? Or, I mean, I remember there was a piano, right? I don't know if you ever bought it, but is there something like that in your mind or in your heart that you've thought about?
Not really, Michael. I don't think so. The piano was more of if we could win the championship, kind of a bonus or whatever for that. But no, not really. I'm like, for me, Michael, and I think we spent enough time. I love coaching. I love the whole setup here. We've got everything. Like for me, it's more just I just want to keep doing it, and I want to continue to provide this country and this city with a tremendous amount of energy that they can all get behind and be proud of. You know what I mean? Like, it means a lot to me that everybody loves the team so much, and that we can go out there and like I said, give them something really to be, most nights, give them something really to be proud of, and play hard, and look like we're organized, and look like we're playing together, and all that kind of stuff. I love all that part of it, and that's really all. Like, I just want to keep doing it. I want to do it someplace that I want to be, and here's where I want to be, and with some guys I want to coach, and with some people I want to work alongside. There's just so much to be thankful for on all fronts for that.
Awesome. And when you were, going over this with Masai and Bobby, we were asking Masai about this. Does the fact that his future is a little bit up in the air, affect how he would negotiate with yourself or Bobby, whoever else? So, did that come up? Was that a concern in your mind that there's a little bit of uncertainty around what Masai's long-term plan is, just because he's the one who doesn't have a deal now?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, Michael, I think that I certainly enjoy. We've been together, Bobby, Masai, and I, for 7 years now. I mean, only kind of at a real close working relationship for 2, since I became the head coach, and we feel like a team. We feel like a team that leads the organization. So yeah, there's a little concern. I mean, I don't know. I never was concerned that they were not going to get a deal done for me. I hope I feel the same way about Bobby, and the same for Masai. I mean, if something changes, we'll do the best we can, and if it changes, it's going to be probably for a good reason for somebody, right? A better reason, or whatever. But if not, we'll just keep working together.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
Going next to Scott Stinson from the National Post.
Hey, Nick. Following up on Eric's question about evaluating what bubble basketball was, I'm just wondering if you could, do you think that the unusualness of that situation, the lack of crowd, the being in a hotel all that time, do you think it's fair that you'd say, some players were affected by it more so than others? And is that going to factor into, evaluating what you guys saw down there?
Well, I mean, I think I think we all probably saw there were certain guys that weren't quite themselves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the layoff or the bubble or whatever is probably the blame or the reason or whatever for that. Yeah.
Are you watching, given that, are you watching the other series still ongoing, and do you see some similar stuff there where maybe some things you didn't expect to see it from the teams that are still playing?
Well, I think that, I think there's some teams that are playing really well. Obviously the 4 teams that are left have handled it, right? But I mean, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, Mike Conley had a 3-ball go rattle in and out. If it would have rattled in, Denver would have been home long ago, and we wouldn't talk about them, right? So that's playoff basketball, really, right? I think there's a lot of really good teams, I mean, who's to say that that foul on Norman Powell at the free throw line wasn't an over the back on Jason Tatum, and we're down there shooting 2 free throws to tie it up, and we're still playing. I mean, there's a lot of good teams when you're down there, and somebody's got to advance and somebody doesn't. I think you see the Clippers out, you see Milwaukee out, you see us out. That's 3 of the 4 top seeds out. So, I think the playoffs, the teams are good, man. There's a lot of depth around the both conferences.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Yep. Thank you.
I'm going to circle back quickly over to Doug Smith.
Yeah, Nick, so I wanted to ask this earlier. During the season, we talk about player development and what we learn about players over the course of a year. What did you learn about yourself over this very weird kind of year you just come through?
Well, that's a good question, Doug. I mean, listen, I'm certainly trying to evaluate a lot of things, and it's well, let's put it this way: when you win it all, like we did a year ago, your summer, you kind of go in there. You're not very hard on yourself, right? I mean, the feeling's pretty good of that you accomplished what you set out to accomplish. Now, on the other hand, when you don't, you are kind of hard on yourself. I mean, I'd be completely honest with you. I've had a rough coming out of the season. I think we're good enough to still be playing, Doug, and it's just one, there's after every loss, when you're coaching at this level, there's always many things you would have done differently, many things. So you're kind of replaying a lot of those things in your head. So evaluating that, but I don't know, try to answer your question here. I think that there was a lot of other issues to take on. There was a different leadership makeup to this season because of the COVID, because of Black Lives Matter, because of the bubble. There was all kinds of maybe heavier issues to deal with. And you kind of just, again, you got to kind of be ready to shift gears and handle those things and open your heart up a little bit and open your mind up a little bit to be able to accept some of those things are happening and try to open your ears up in the end and listen and communicate with people. I don't know.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Next question goes to Ryan Wallstaff from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Nick. Congrats on the deal. Hope the travel home went smoothly. You kind of mentioned all the uncertainty, so I'm just curious how you deal with everything from not knowing when everything's going to start up again to not knowing which of your assistants will be around, that sort of stuff, and having 3 key free agents, obviously, and also the Canada factor as well, not knowing what's up with that. So how do you deal with all that uncertainty?
Well, I think you don't have much choice but to understand that there's no, nothing etched in stone, just on timing, really, on anything. And then just have as many, meetings or as much communication on all those fronts as you can, just to kind of get a sense of where you are. Obviously Bobby and Masai and the crew were talking about, the team, right? For what the team will look like and all that kind of stuff. That's certainly an ongoing process. And then, and I just literally got off a Zoom call with my staff about, it's going to be not quite time yet. We're still decompressing, but in a couple of weeks, it's going to be time to get into our off-season development program and start figuring out where our guys are going to be and how we're going to get to them and make them better. And then Canada's the same. You're just trying to stay in the loop with all these guys and especially the leaders, Glenn and Rowan, and see what the forecast looks like for now. And again, I'm just hoping we can get back to playing normal and getting on a schedule. And I'm hoping there will be a Tokyo, and I'm hoping there will be an Olympic qualifier tournament. I'm just hoping that those days are coming for all of us, right? So we can get back to normal and moving around again.
Hopefully they are. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Going next to Stephen Lung from Sportsnet.
Hey Nick, hope you're okay.
Hi, Stephen.
Just to piggyback on what Ryan was talking about with Team Canada, just have you had like a very like specific conversations with Canada basketball about like what the like next summer could possibly look like for Victoria?
I mean, I think we're all just waiting, Stephen. Still, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm in contact with Glenn and Rowan a lot, and there's just really nothing to report, you know. I think people are hopeful, but you know, there's just really nothing to really to pin our hopes on at this moment until we get a little more information about whether it's going to move forward. Tokyo is obviously the kind of domino that needs to drop before anything else drops, right?
Right. And just one more for me, but like you mentioned before, like in the bubble, in regards to like what kind of voting initiatives like that the team is doing, how you may be setting up voting centers in like the states. So like, can I get an update on like where you are with that initiative?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for asking the question. We are continuing, you know, with our thoughts and plans about trying to get as many United States citizens living here in Canada registered to vote. Again, there's almost 650,000 ish, give or take, and 35,000 of them voted in the last election, 5%, right around 5%, which is, you know, it's just got to be better than that. But a lot of the arenas are using a lot of the teams are using their arenas in the States as voting centers. We obviously can't do that, but we are going to open up Scotiabank later on next week. Don't have the exact dates, maybe 1 or 2 days next week for U.S. citizens to come in and register. And I'll certainly be a part of that. And we'll get those dates out as soon as we have them. We should have them shortly, but that'll be sometime later in the week. So that's very, very cool on everybody's part to do that, and that's where we're pushing our next objective towards Scotiabank later on next week.
Thanks a lot, Coach, and congrats on the contract.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it, man.
Final 3 questions for you, Coach. First one is going to Aaron Rose from SI.com.
Hey, Nick, congrats on being back home in your contract. I guess us media, we talk often about leadership and veteran guys showing their leadership. You have a few of those guys who are heading toward free agency, and I'm wondering what they meant to the team. I'm thinking of Mark and Serge, and what kind of leadership they showed, if there are examples that come to mind for you.
No, they're great. I mean, obviously they're you know, they're very similar. You know, they've been around a long time. They both have won at a high level on numerous fronts. And they were veteran leaders like you would expect. Any of the game prep, any of the film sessions, any of the practices, the walkthroughs, et cetera, they're chipping in and teaching and learning and making sure everybody's, you know, involved and on the same page and keeping a good attitude as they went, even though we went small a couple games and they weren't, either one of them were that much of a part of it late in the game, but they were still great to have and true pros.
And have you been following the Nuggets and their Canadian superstar, getting you excited for the prospect of potentially, hopefully, doing something in the summer?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been amazing, right? I mean, unbelievable. And that's huge. And he's, you know, again, like all signs and everything, any communication that I've had with him is that he's going to play. So I think that's, everybody should be excited about that. I know I certainly am. And he is really, really becoming a superstar in the league.
Thank you.
Yep.
Going next to William Liu from Yahoo Canada.
Hey, Nick, congratulations on the extension. Very well deserved. I want to ask you about 2 of your players. First with OG Anunoby, sort of, not sure if you had a chance to look back on some of the games in the playoffs, but what did OG show you throughout the course of the playoffs? And what are some of the next steps for him moving forward?
Well, he was really good, right? I think he was certainly a huge bright spot in the playoffs. Um, I just think he looked comfortable out there. I thought he guarded a number of positions. He shot the ball well. Obviously, made some big plays. I think he looked better at the start and at the end of his drives. I don't know. Just looks like he's getting to be a better player, which is huge. I think experience and time on the floor and just time in the league and having a run of being healthy, certainly helps him there. And then just, as far as moving forward, I think he's super hungry, right? He's really hungry. He's really starting to dive into some of the technical aspects of his game. He really, really wants to be coached. He really wants to work. I think those are all super positive signs. It's not unlike some of our other guys that have, been around coming through being young and as soon as one season's over, they're into their off-season routine and they know they can get better at a lot of things and they're digging in hard on it. And he's certainly one of those guys. So I think it's exciting for everybody.
And then with Fred, obviously he's a free agent this summer, or I guess this fall. It's weird to say that. In terms of Fred, I mean, obviously I think he was incredibly important this season, but do you think he sort of took his game to another level in the playoffs? I think especially in that Nets series, a lot of leadership and I think a lot of growth in his game that he sort of continues to show year after year.
No, man, he's big time. Freddie's big time. I think he had a tremendous season just in general. I think he came back from last year's NBA Finals a totally different guy, just a level up. He knew he could do it at the highest level, the biggest stage, and he did it. He started the season just come out of the gates flying. Like you said, he was critical in the playoffs and he was tough, and he's shouldering a lot. He took a lot of big shots, and he took some, critical moments of the game where he had to generate some offense, pretty much by himself, and he was able to do that at times. And sometimes he wasn't, but he was still willing to take the shots and try to make the plays, So I think we see that with everybody. Some nights it's going, some nights it's not, but you still got to be willing to step in there and have the guts to do it. And he's certainly a gutsy player, continues to get better. Really good defensively. Shooting continues to improve. His range, his depth he can shoot from continues to improve. He's a good one, man. There's no doubt about that.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Congrats again.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to do 2 more questions. First one goes to Vivek Jacob from Complex Canada.
Hey, Nick. Congrats on the new deal.
Thank you.
Sort of piggybacking off of Doug's question in terms of learning about yourself. You always seem to have the pulse of your guys in terms of, when to go hard in practice, when to sort of go light, when to put an arm around the shoulder, when to be hard on them. How much of that stuff did you need to recalibrate just because of everything that was going on in the bubble?
There was some recalibration going on, that's for sure. And I don't know if it was because of the bubble. I think the circumstances of the game, regardless of where it is, I think, again, it's so weird when you're in the bubble and when you're not, but it's just more of like, the minutes and the game and who played and the rotations and who's dinged up and, those kind of things are just kind of happening, regardless, right? They're happening in a regular season, like a normal season, and then in this kind of season with the bubble. So I think it's more of that you're kind of feeding off of. But and I think that changes every playoff run.
And just to follow up on that, specifically with Terrence Davis, he has a great rookie season, makes the all-rookie second team, doesn't get much of a look in the playoffs. What type of conversation do you have with him coming off of that?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good conversation with him, right? I think the conversation for me is that you're a special player, Like he's got some specialness to him to come in and do what he did and to be able to vault up and take and make shots like he can from where he came from to be able to drive down the lane and dunk on 4 people. And, you know, he's got some specialness to him. And that was kind of my message to him, right? There's just a little bit of, you know, just take some time, a little bit of growth, and just get better and understand that. Like I, you know, I say the same thing about Fred. Fred's a special guy. He's got something special inside him, right? And I was trying to convey that same message to Terrence.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
You're welcome.
Final question goes to Tim Bontemps from ESPN.
Hello, Nick. This experience down here in the bubble may be the only basketball we see for about a calendar year. And I was just curious whether you're looking at your team specifically or kind of around the league as a whole. How do you evaluate what's happened down here in terms of how it might translate to stuff going forward, given how unique this entire situation is?
Well, I think Tim, I think the basketball was great, right? I don't think anybody can take away like how good the games were and how good the players are playing and how high level it's been. I don't, you know, I certainly think everybody's on the same page with that. So, you know, that's important, isn't it? I mean, I think that's important that we get a high level of play out there. You know, I think again, there was certain teams or certain players, and, you know, some people handled it better than others for whatever reason, you know, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe things would have played out exactly the same in the normal scenario. So again, reading into that because it's the bubble or not reading into it, that's part of what we're doing right now in our postseason, you know, evaluation. But I really, you know, first of all, I commend the league for setting it up. I commend the players for what they put out there and what they're continuing to put out there. Really everybody down in the bubble that's sacrificed to keep this thing rolling. I think we all got to tip our hat to them or give everybody a huge thank you, right?